Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. And like I said earlier, I'm going to try to do 3 videos a week. And this is the second video for this week. And it's going to be about why I became conscious. What was the deciding factor for me? Well, my conscious journey started when I was younger. I've always, and I'm not trying to sound cliche here, but this is the way my story was written. Um, when I was 4 or 5 years old, I went to church with my grandmother, and this Caucasian guy, I was playing with his son, and I would play with this boy at church every Sunday when his mom brought him. Now, his dad bought him this particular Sunday, was not happy with me playing with his son, and expressed that in my face and was like, I don't want you playing with the black kids. The little black girl. That's what he said. So me being as naive as I am, my parents had not given me, well, my mom was in the military at the time, and I think she was in basic training. And my grandmother was my guardian. She had not given me the "you're black" speech yet. She didn't tell me that I was black. So I didn't know. And because I didn't know, it wasn't tattooed on my forehead to me. It was I thought I looked like everyone else. Um, well, not looked, but I didn't pay attention to that. So, like, really was oblivious. So I turned to my grandma and I said, "Grandma, who's the little black girl he's talking about?" And she says, "You." So I wasn't devastated, but my grandma just picked me up and we left the church. We never went back to that church ever. And so that I was like 4 when I found out I was black. So after that, um, well, during the same time, like I started getting heavily into paleontology. Well, here in America, you back then you were not hearing about a lot of these findings here. It was either in South America or over in Africa, the continent of Africa, or something like that. Like you weren't hearing about it here yet. And so, in my study of paleontology at the tender age of 5, I ran across. I ended up getting a book that had like all this stuff about Egyptians, and I just was like drawn, like it drew to me. It was like I knew this is what I was supposed to be doing, so this is what I was supposed to learn. So um, that's I asked for everything Nefertiti, because back then in the '90s, Queen Nefertiti was you. If you didn't have a Nefertiti piece, you was nothing in the '90s. And even though I was like 6, I still had I had a Nefertiti, 2 Nefertiti rings. I had a bracelet, the bangle with the Nefertiti on it, the head, the tennis bracelet with the Nefertiti heads. I had the earrings. I had a necklace. You couldn't tell me nothing. I had it all. So, and of course, those pieces eventually were stolen from me because people don't know how to tell their kids not to steal. But it's always been something in my life. It's always been inside of me. Um, excuse me. Um, oh Lord, y'all gonna sing that car? Anyway, but yeah. So I've been getting those little hints and subtle messages from beyond that tell you which path to follow. I've always had it, but I'm gonna say this: knowing where you come from and who you are, and choosing to, I wouldn't say ignore it, but choosing to ignore it, because that's the best way. I mean, choosing to put it in the back of your head, not to ignore it, but put it in the back of your head. Because I didn't have, the high school I went to in North Carolina did not have a black student body that was coming together and talking about these things like today. The either one of the high schools, they didn't have it. Um, the most that we had was gospel choir, and you better not ever say nothing like that in gospel choir. So that was that. And unless you had somebody at home teaching you, and unfortunately, like my uncle, he's always, for all my life, he's been conscious, and I didn't get a chance to spend a lot of my time with him. I think the most, when I moved to Virginia when I was 16, that's when I started spending time with him, and I started being able to listen to the things he said. And even at 16, I was like, this man is, something ain't right with him. Like, he always running around here talking about the man, and my uncle just don't like white people, so don't get him riled up about it. That's how I was thinking. That's what I was programmed to think like. Living in the South and growing up in the South, it's there. Like when I moved to the city that I moved in, like when I was 9 years old, I moved from the city life into the deep country life. And when I moved there back in 96, 97, 97, there was a sign that was still like, it was painted over, but you can still see through. You know how they paint over it, but it's still, because it's black, the words are black, they still like protrude out a little bit. Whites only. Whites only. And, I'm, for the better part of, I just had probably turned 9 in 97. I think I was 9 in 96. I turned 9 in 96. So when I moved here, I still was not, I was 9 years old. And that's crazy, So, anyways, just those little things, and it's wrong. And I had like, I've always known like I was better. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't explain it. But anyways, so I get to college and I went to a HBCU straight out of high school. I went to Morgan State University. And um, yeah, I had a professor, and she's like, never forget that you're not that far from the bottom of the totem pole. And although they are protesting against other people in this country, you better believe that when they finish with them, they're going to come for us next. And this was in 2006, August of 2006. And that resonated with me. And this was my English professor, Dr. Brown. And I have never, Lisa Brown, I have never, ever forgotten those words, ever. And they made so much sense. And she said, she also made it very clear. She said, we're not just going to read African American books in this class, because I want you to be able to sit at a table, regardless of who's at the table, and hold a conversation with them. That's my goal. My goal is for you to be able to hold a conversation with anybody, because you already have a few strikes against you. And after she said that, I was like, dang, like, it ain't all roses out here. So, like, that's when I knew, like. So, when I was 18, I got the Egyptian Book of the Dead for my birthday. Like, that was the best. I mean, I got a cell phone, which probably resonates as the best thing ever, but I got the book of, like, that was my baby. That was my book. And I took Latin because I was like, if I take Latin, it'll probably be the best thing. I mean, this is the only language they're going to offer, and it'll probably be the best thing. I want to be a forensic psychologist, and I still want to kind of do my um, Egyptian exploration. So I think the right now with this is probably the best I'm gonna get. So I took Latin, and it wasn't a lot of us brown people up in there. It was only like two, three of. It was only two of us. Anyways, actually it was three. My senior year it was three of us. My junior year it was two of us in Latin one. And so yeah. Anyways, when I left for I left college after my second year and I joined the army. And it couldn't have been more clear when I joined the army. Um, all my drill sergeants were African American, but when you in the army, you have to play this game. I was in this particular MOS is what they call the type of job that you get. And my MOS, there are not a lot of us brown people. On top of it not being a lot of brown people, there aren't a lot of women in this particular job. And I didn't have like this man job. But you would think it would be more women and you would think it would be more black women, but it wasn't. It was not. I probably can name on my one hand, I'm gonna say out of the 6 months I spent in Texas training for this job, I met and ran across maybe two handfuls of African American women, colored women, women of color. That's it. And that's sad. So you see, it's always been in my face, but it wasn't until I got in the army. I was 19 when I joined, and that's when things started opening up. Like the things that you have to put up with, man, is crazy. On top of like, if you've never been in the military, you're never gonna understand it. But on top of having to deal with it at your job, that's supposed to you're supposed to be protecting people, but you can't protect yourself. Um, if you don't know the story of Specialist Johnson, which I'm gonna do a video on her, and you'll understand why it bothers me. But anyways, um, while I was there in training, I got a phone call from my aunt, and she's like, "You need to be careful because this one of our sisters, she worked for blah 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 agency, and she went missing, and they can't find her. Her parents have no idea what happened. They think that she might have leaked some information that she wasn't supposed to leak." And that's when it hit me that again things are not all roses in this country, and I'm fighting. I'm putting my uniform on every day, and I'm still hearing these stories. And then I heard about the Specialist Johnson case, and that's all I needed to hear. Like, that's all I needed to hear. I changed my I changed my life path. Like, I don't know what I was supposed to do or what I was going to do after I left. I guess I was just going to live a happily ever life and be doing my military thing for 20 plus years and retire. And I don't know what I was going to do. But I never thought for 1 second that I should become a lawyer. Well, people used to tell me all the time, like, you need to be a lawyer because you like the argument, and you like to prove people wrong, and you like to try to get out of things. And my mom said all the time, you use your words to get out of stuff so much, like you confuse people. And I never thought of it like that. Like I never thought to make use of it, I guess. And um so I did. Like now, after reading about Special Johnson, I'm like, I'm gonna become a lawyer. And then the Trayvon Martin thing happened, and I'm like, I'm definitely gonna become a lawyer. And then, you know, all these other atrocities committed towards African American people started happening. And I was like, I'm gonna become a lawyer because, or at least a private investigator, because it's things happening around here and nobody's talking about them. Nobody cares. And that's when it clicked. Like that's when I started doing most of my conscious studies, like getting to know where I already knew where we originated. I already knew that, Obama was not the first African American president. I already knew that there were people that look like me in countries that we never see. I always on TV. I've already knew that. So watching Hidden Colors did not. The only thing that it did was a little bit. It made me a little angry, and it wasn't because of the information. It wasn't because of the information of where we come from or how we've been treated. It was the fact that you want to beat this this anti this anti homosexual theme in the movie. And I'm not trying to displace or take away from whatever they were saying, because that was some information that a lot of people needed to hear in order to wake them up. But it also, to me, was like, you're feeding us your own agenda. That's not something that I would have, like, a lot of us have people that are homosexual in our families that still have not come out the closet at the time the first movie had come out. And here you are. I go with my gay self the to the you know I go with my gay self to the movie theater, and I'm a closet gay, and you're bashing gays. Like, how am I supposed to feel as a patron? And that's the only thing that kind of bothered me. I mean, I'm not homosexual, but I feel as if it could have been done. Like, I feel as if that was not, like, that was not the time and place to do that. You could have did that in the second video once you hook and liner and you reeling them in and you got them, and they come back for the second movie and they hearing about, you know what I'm saying? Because now you already have done something. You've already you already left these breadcrumbs for them to find, and whether you like it or not, it's some conscious gay people in the world. And that's my take on the movie itself, the movies themselves. Like, they are great pieces for people that have no clue to watch. And like, actually, my fiance was not conscious at all. I mean, like, he went through some things, y'all, right up until last year. And the boy just was falling asleep all over the place. He was just sleep, 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 sleep. He didn't come from a family like mine. He was asleep. His whole family was asleep. And I kept, you know how you just be like, that's, can't do that. You can't, you hear that. Why aren't you fighting for yourself? Why aren't you? I kept asking him, why aren't you fighting? Finally, I was like, I'm going to watch Hidden Colors. So we watched it. I had him watch it with me because I knew. I was like, you know what? I say this all the time. If I start talking like this, he's going to think I'm crazy. But I know this stuff. But if he watches it and he can see for himself, it's going to do something to him. It's going to change him. Let me tell you how I waited to watch the second one with him. I fall asleep when he's finished, as he's watching the end of the first one. This Negro gonna turn on the second one and watch it without me. He cheated, y'all. But I'm happy that he was able to get that spark, to keep the wheels turning. So, but anyway, back to my conscious story. That's how, once those events happened, I really became And I really dug deep and I started finding who I am and what I wanted and thinking about things on a different level and having these experiences and listening to the experiences of other people and knowing that it's not right. It's some stuff I'm gonna talk about later as I continue to go on and we'll and it's gonna blow your mind. But you know, in me talking about my conscious journey, I hope that I help someone else that's just starting out. That's what my goal is. My goal is to show people that you don't just after you watch a movie or you read a book or um, you listen to a speech or you read a speech or you read an essay or you watch a video, you don't become this knowing all be all. This is a journey. That means it's gonna transform you. It's gonna be some days where you just hate life. It's gonna be some days where you just hate them. It's gonna be some days where you just don't understand. But you keep going and you keep finding more out. And the more that you find out, now for me, the more you find out, the less you the more you find out, the more you understand and overstand. Like you get it. Like overstanding means that you not only do you know that it's happening, but you know that it's happening. Like you get you get it. Oh, that moment when you be like, that was some deep stuff. And then not only that's understanding, that's some deep stuff. Overstanding is knowing and applying it. So how it resonates with you in your everyday life, like knowing that you can't go to certain neighborhoods and expect to be helped, knowing that that's you can't go around there. You know what areas in your neighborhood, if you live there for all your life, you know what areas to stay away from. You know what areas to go and not go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's when you overstand it. That's when you can apply it to your life, when it makes sense, total, complete sense to you. That's when you're overstanding, And unfortunately, a lot of us wake up and we think we know we have the keys to life, and we don't. As you grow older, you're here to learn. And a lot of us have, you know, that's a different video, but you're here to learn. Whatever you didn't learn before, you're here to learn it now. And that's the process of life, learning. You can't know everything. You don't wake up knowing everything, because if that was the truth, then we wouldn't be in this situation now. We wouldn't be asleep trying to wake everybody up, you know. But stay peaceful. And what I mean by peaceful, let me explain that. When I say stay peaceful or peace be with you or, those type of things, I'm not talking about be wimps and laying down and letting people do things to you in the name of not being. You don't have to be violent. The opposite of peace is not violence. Okay? What I'm saying is you don't have to lay down and take it. Being peaceful is finding a way to take care of what you need to take care of. Okay? So, whatever makes you happy. Okay? So, do what makes you happy, yo.